I'm Josh Light with PoliticIt.com here in North Carolina with presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, Gary Johnson. How are you doing today, Gary?
Josh, great to be with you. Yeah, and it's good to be here in North Carolina, and it's raining here like it was in Tampa.
A little less humid though, right?
I don't know about that.
So tell us the big difference between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama and yourself.
Big difference. I would be the only candidate that doesn't want to bomb Iran. I'd be the only candidate that wants to get out of Afghanistan, bring the troops home tomorrow. I really do support marriage equality. I think that it's a constitutionally guaranteed right. I want to end the drug wars. I would have never signed the National Defense Authorization Act. Both Obama did, Romney would have. I'd like to repeal the Patriot Act. I would also like to balance the federal budget in 2013, so I'm promising to submit a balanced budget to Congress in the year 2013. I'm the only candidate that wants to abolish the IRS, eliminate income tax, corporate tax, replace all of it with a single national consumption tax. In this case, I am embracing the fair tax. I think that it really would reboot the American economy. Tens of millions of jobs would get created. Exports would be 23% more competitive. I really think it would kick crony capitalism in the rear end, because I think half of Washington lobbyists exist to buy loopholes, and Washington sells loopholes. Both parties sell loopholes. So those are big differences. Those are the only differences, I guess, I have with the other two guys.
So we were looking at the data, and the data showed your IT score actually went up a lot after the Republican National Convention. Why do you think you had such a big surge in your IT score?
You know, I can only assume that it's Ron Paul's candidacy coming to an end, and Ron Paul's supporters faced with I don't think, such a difficult choice, and that would be Obama, Romney, or me. And since I really am saying the same things as Ron Paul, I would argue that I have a resume to suggest that I can actually do this job of being President of the United States. One thing to point out the issues facing the country, another thing to point out the solutions that go along with them. But you know what? A homeless person could do that. You can't run for President of the United States and be you can't have homeless on your resume. I think a two-term former governor of New Mexico, the fact that I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, there's nothing in my resume to suggest that I'm not going to doggedly pursue the agenda that I'm talking about.
Now, we talked to a lot of Ron Paul supporters, and they actually said they're going to vote for you. But we talked to a lot of mainstream Republicans, and they said Ron Paul supporters are going to vote for Mitt Romney. Who do you think they're going to vote for?
You know, I think that I think that they're faced with the choice Mitt Romney, Barack Obama, or me as a former Ron Paul supporter. And I don't think you'd ever be a former Ron Paul supporter. I think the choice is really clear. I think that it is me.
Do you use social media?
Yes.
What do you find people talking about in the online world?
Well, yesterday it was Paul Ryan's marathon time, which I got a kick out of. As a marathoner, the fact that Paul Ryan somehow misstated his best marathon time by an hour, I found that to be funny. I really did.
And you've ran marathons before. What's your best time?
Well, my best time is 2 hours and 48 minutes, and yes, it is. I'm sure it's etched properly in the Fiesta Bowl marathon in 1984.
And what are
a while ago.
What are your thoughts on Paul Ryan?
Well, first of all, I like the notion that Republicans have chosen their boldest candidate, but when you start to look at bold, really, a balanced budget in 30 years, assuming growth, really, isn't this much to do about nothing? And I don't want to take away from Paul Ryan and the fact that he is the boldest Republican, but if that's the boldest Republican, then we're not going to address the issues that are facing this country.
And when you were governor, you vetoed a lot of legislation. Is that correct?
You know, I may have, this may be an embellishment, Josh, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I may have vetoed more legislation than the other 49 governors in the country combined. I vetoed 750 bills. I had thousands of line-item vetoes. Only 2 were overturned, so it really made a difference when it came to billions of dollars worth of spending. It made a difference when it came to legislation that, in my opinion, we're just going to add time and money to your and my life and the legislation wasn't going to make us any safer, wasn't going to make us any more healthy. It was just going to add time and money, so veto.
Now, you were at the Republican National Convention. Now you're at the Democratic National Convention. Do you find Democrats more receptive or Republicans more receptive to your message?
You know, I've found this across the board. I think Democrats are passionate about civil liberties. I don't know, as Democrats of late, elected Democrats, do so well when it comes to civil liberties. I think for the most part, Democrats really do care about dollars and cents, and they've been horrible lately on that one. So, you know, same as Republicans. Republicans care about civil liberties, although elected officials do horribly at it. Republicans are supposed to be good at dollars and cents, but you know what? Not so good. We have a $16 trillion debt. My understanding is $8.5 trillion of that is the responsibility of Democrats. $7.5 trillion of it's the responsibility of Republicans. So where's the vote? Where's the differentiation between the two?
How do we end this debt?
We got to balance the budget now, and that would mean mutual sacrifice. But if we don't do it, in my opinion, we're going to find ourselves in a monetary collapse. And a monetary collapse, very simply, is when the dollars that you have don't buy a thing because of the accompanying inflation that goes along with borrowing and printing money to the tune of 43 cents out of every dollar that we're spending.
Well, thanks for meeting with us today, Gary.
Josh, great to meet with you here today. Thank you.